I'm Ben Bernanke. I, like Alexander Hamilton, have a lot to do with money in this country. Hamilton was the Treasurer of the United States. I am the Chairman of the Board of the Federal Reserve. Hamilton and we have a lot in common. There's a lot I can learn from him. The first thing Hamilton and I have in common is that we aren't well liked by the public. Hamilton did not handle his reputation declining very well. Trying to save your reputation with a duel really didn't work out so well for him. So instead of fighting my problems out, I'm going to continue to work hard for this country. I don't have any plans of slowing down my work, of lowering interest rates to help inflation. Although the public doesn't really see its benefits, I know it's best for the country. This is like Hamilton's will. He asked the country to stay united, even though it's not really what the people want. He knew it was best for the country. Alexander Hamilton was of the government in his time. He believed they were going to run the country into the ground. This government had a chance to be successful if they set up a functioning and prospering economy. Hamilton was willing to build an economy from scratch, which is basically where I started. I came into my position shortly after the collapse of 2000. I had to find a way to recover the government without making it too hard to handle for the people. The nation is so far in debt that there is no simple solution to this problem. Hamilton suggested reimbursing the people who owned government securities at full value. I don't think this would work very well, because how Madison noticed, it created a buying frenzy. Another thing Hamilton and I have in common, we are both at a congressional stalemate. It is hard to get anything passed when the Congress doesn't like your very reasonable proposals. I have even warned the people that the recovery of the economy is in a fragile state, and with the tax hikes and spending reductions that are happening, that fragile state could be seriously endangered. In the third chapter, Alice introduces the idea of opposing views during the time. The main ones mentioned were Federalists versus Republicans, Hamilton versus Jefferson, and even the North versus the South. The one I would like to focus on is Hamilton versus Jefferson. Their different economic views were putting a rift in the country. As Alice mentions, the rift is becoming more apparent, and it's not just in economics. It's in all aspects of the country. We also see this so apparent today. We see Democrats and Republicans fighting it out in Congress and getting absolutely nowhere. Congress right now is having trouble getting the simplest laws passed, and forget about them trying to agree on anything I say. I have some good ideas for the benefit of this country. I just can't get anyone to help me out. Hamilton, he had this same problem. A Congress that isn't speaking to anyone is just unproductive. There needs to be some compromise somewhere. Alexander Hamilton and James Madison had assisted George Washington in writing his farewell speech. Although some work from them was evident, it was Washington's idea and only Washington's ideas that were in his farewell. He took a stance on what he believed, and he proved to the nation what power he had during his reign. I noticed the same thing from George W. Bush during his farewell address. George Washington helped the development of the economy and helped Hamilton push his ideas along. George W. Bush tried to help our economy and helped me slightly through the process of recovering this economy. I feel I can also relate to George Washington. He was a large man, but he was somewhat reserved in his attitude. As am I. We are both put into situations of high tension, and we are both coming out as daring, innovative leaders. I learned from Washington how to be respectful and classy, even if everyone isn't on my side. One thing I learned from Chapter 5 is that Hamilton, Adams, and I all have one thing in common, and that would be our humble backgrounds. We worked our way up to the people we have become and the things we have done. Nothing was really handed to us. During the election of 1776, Hamilton took a back seat. He wasn't doing much politically outgoing. I also took a back seat during the 2008 election. Although I never stopped working to improve this economy, I just took a backseat approach. I didn't need to be put in the spotlight at such an important time in our country. I had a humble approach during the whole ordeal. Although I'm widely criticized for not taking a tougher stance, people just don't see what I've been doing and working on. I don't need to be in the spotlight, but I will not submit to silence and defeat. I will improve this economy, even if people don't like me. Adams was working the fields in Massachusetts, thinking not really of farming, but the politics that still brewed inside him. Although it was Jefferson that controlled most of Adams' thoughts, he considered his number one enemy to be Hamilton. They did not agree on much at all. Hamilton would have gone to war with France if Adams wouldn't have formed the treaty. Although Adams and Jefferson could revive their friendship, there wasn't much hope for Hamilton. As we saw in Chapter 1, he ends up dueling to the death. He was so convinced to live with honor that he actually died for honor. I learned an important lesson from Hamilton. Don't make enemies within politics. It would end badly for my reputation, and in Hamilton's case, it ended pretty badly for his life. I do admit that the fiscal cliff slowed the process of our recovering economy, but we are still making progress. I won't do anything to damage my reputation, and I don't think I'll be dueling anyone anytime soon.